Hey guys, this is Leck from CGN, and this is a introduction to the melee skills in the Secret World. So if I bring up the ability wheel, all of the abilities are divided between ranged, magic, and melee, and I'm going to concentrate on melee skills in this video. So within melee you've got blades, which are DPS and supporty skills. Then you've got hammers, which are tanky skills, and you've got fists, which are supporty and healy type skills. Now with the blades, I've actually got every blade skill already bought, so that's the easiest one for me to demonstrate. Let me show you first. This is the blade that I'm using at the moment. It's a flawless blade, quality 3, weapon power 124. Gives me extra critical rating and penetration rating. And with swords, penetration rating is what counts. Hit rating counts with everything, and critical rating isn't bad to have, but penetration rating actually works with some of the skills. So let me show you the skills. I can't show you the outer ring because it's not in open beta, but I'll go through the inner ring skills. You've got Delicate Strike, which is a builder. It's an instant cast. You can spam this ability when your other abilities are recharging, rather than just standing there and waiting. It does 114 damage, and I should mention this number here is dependent on what weapon you're using. So currently I'm using a quality 3 weapon, and that's why it does 114 damage. If I had a lesser weapon, it would do lesser damage. A more powerful weapon would do more damage. And your skill rank here determines what weapon you can use. I'm skill 2, which means I can use rank 3 weapons. I don't know why it adds 1, but it does. Anyway, these numbers might be a bit different on yours, depending on what weapon you've got. So that is your spammy skill that does damage. Then you've got a passive that works specifically for Delicate Strike, and it increases the penetration chance of Delicate Strike by 10%. So that's why your penetration rating counts more for blades. A lot of the skills work on penetration. Balanced Blade is a point-blank AoE. It affects up to 5 enemies in a 5-meter radius around you. Consumes all blade resources. What that means is you don't need to have a specific number of resources, points, to use it. If you had 1, it would use 1 point. If you had 5, it would use 5 points. But it would do more damage if you had more points. That is 141 damage, and it builds resource points as well, if any target is impaired. So that's a good chance for you to get synergy. You can impair all the targets and then use Balanced Blade, and you'll build points, even though this specific skill is not a builder. Then you've got Exposed Weakness, which is a passive. Wherever you apply Impaired, you gain the minor penetration chance effect, which increases your penetration chance by 10% for 8 seconds. So again, every time you impair, you'll get a better penetration chance. Then you've got Dancing Blade with a channeled ability which works every 0.5 seconds for 2.5 seconds. That means you need to let it run for 2.5 seconds to get the whole effect. If you cut it out, you won't get all the damage. And it deals 92 damage per 0.5 seconds. So that's 92 times 5 altogether for that skill if you let it go. If you interrupt it, you won't get it. Sharp Blades is a passive that does 10% more damage to all blade abilities altogether. Stunning Swirl is an elite, so you can only have 1 active elite and 1 passive elite at one time. It's a point-blank AoE that does 109 physical damage, and everyone around you becomes impaired and unable to act for 3 seconds. So this one, Stunning Swirl, is a good ability to combine with this one, Balanced Blade. You can do Stunning Swirl, impair everyone, and then Balanced Blade, which is also an AoE, and you'll get extra resource points. Then you've got these ones, Technique. Immortal Spirit is a passive ability. Whenever you penetrate, you gain a heal over time effect, which heals for 13 every second for 5 seconds. Again, that 13 might be different depending on what items you've got equipped. But this ability is important to note that passive abilities don't need a weapon equipped to use it. So it's only 1 AP and it's the first one in this blade cell. So even if you don't use blades, it's a good ability to take and slot into your build. It'll give you a small heal over time, every time you penetrate. And then, yes, it is a small heal, but a little heal is better than no heal. Blade Torrent is a point blank AoE frenzy attack that does 77 physical damage and generates a high amount of hate, so that's a good one to use if you want to be tanky. Now, as I said, I did say the blades are like DPS and support, and the hammers are tanky, and the fists are healy. But those roles are very broad. You can take fists and not heal if you want to. You can take hammers and not tank, you know, and you can tank with blades. You can do anything you want. But I do get the impression that blades are designed for support and DPS, because you can do things like penetrate and impair and etc. Perfect Storm is a passive ability that works specifically for Blade Torrent and causes the target to become afflicted with damage over time effect. Martial Discipline is a buff which gives you an increased chance that attacks against you will glance. So that's like a defense buff. Glancing attack is the opposite of a critical hit, and it means basically the attack glanced off you and did minimal damage. Regeneration is a passive ability that works specifically on Martial Discipline, and it gives you a heal over time effect while this buff is active. If you have Regeneration equipped as well as Martial Discipline, you'll get a defense buff and a heal over time for 6 seconds, but that'll change depending on what weapon you've got. Surging Blades is a column dash. This is my favourite skill, because it's really fun to dash into a fight first thing. Dash forward 10 meters, affecting up to 5 enemies in a 6 meter wide column along the way. And all enemies you affect get 204 physical damage. And then Fluid Defense is a passive elite ability. Whenever you receive a glancing hit, you gain the Major Ward effect, which reduces the damage you take by 25% for 6 seconds. So again, Fluid Defense is a good ability to match with Martial Discipline, because this will mean you will get more glancing hits on you, and this will mean those glancing hits give you reduced damage afterwards. Now, because I've actually got all the blade skills, I can show you a demonstration, which I might not be able to do for the other skills, but here's the Blodga Impaler. I've been practicing my pronunciation. Blodga Drog. Okay, they're really hard already, I can tell that. Whoa! That was the column dash. Oh, don't freeze on me. Oh, I got another one on me. Oh, 2 on me! Shit. I don't know if I can fight 2 at the same time, but I'll try. I'm gonna die. So blades are a good weapon, but not when you're fighting 3 at the same time. Okay, now I'm safe. Let's go to hammers, and I do have a hammer on me. It's a newbie hammer, and I can't use it because I don't have any skills. But you can see there's an example of a hammer. Some other hammers I've seen are like fireman's axes, or there's a pipe you can use as a hammer. There's lots of different things. So let's go through the skills. Okay, Brawn. Smash is an active ability. That's your builder that you can spam while everything else is recharging. Does 89 physical damage. Now, I don't know if you can read it in the video, but I'll be reading it out anyway. Below the belt is a passive ability that works with Smash, and the target which you attack with Smash also becomes weakened, which reduces all damage dealt by the target for 10 seconds. And you can stack it. Weakened means they do less damage and they receive less healing. Hell to Pay is an active column ability. Affects 5 enemies in a 4 meter wide by 5 meter long area in front of you. It's a blast attack that deals 110 physical damage. Instant. So that's another one. It consumes all hammer resources, so you can't spam it. But the good thing about melee weapons is when you get points on you, see down here, the orange bar is your resource points, and with all melee weapons it starts full at 5. So you can use that ability there, Hell to Pay, right from the start. Even you don't need to use your builder first, you can dash in with your column ability right at the start. So that's the unique thing about melee weapons. Righteous Fury. Righteous Fury is a passive ability that increases the critical chance of Hell to Pay by 15%. So some of the passive abilities only work for a specific active ability, and that's something to remember. You don't want to take this by itself if you're not taking Hell to Pay. Haymaker is an instant ability, consumes all hammer resources. A single target strike that deals 155 physical damage or 178 physical damage if the target is impaired. So again, look for other skills that impair the target and then use that afterwards. Hard Impact is a passive ability that increases damage dealt by all hammer abilities by 10%. And Shockwave is the elite active ability that deals damage in a column in front of you, 104 physical damage, and everyone becomes impaired and knocked to the ground for 3 seconds. So again, you can use Shockwave and then use Haymaker, and you'll deal extra damage, and they'll be taken out of the fight for 3 seconds. And you've got Grit. Brawler is a passive ability that gives you increased crit power by 20%. And this is another skill that's useful to remember because it's 1 AP. You don't need to use a hammer. You don't need to use a hammer weapon to use this ability. You can slot it in anywhere and get extra crit power, even if you're not using hammers. Grand Slam is a builder. It's a single target attack that deals 82 physical damage, and if you use it on a weakened target, you'll get an AoE that deals 42 damage around you. So again, look for the other skills that do weaken and use Grand Slam right after it. Street Fighter is a passive ability. Whenever you apply Impaired, you gain a beneficial effect that increases all damage dealt by 8% for 4 seconds. So useful to combine that with Shockwave, because that impairs people. Stone Walled is a defense buff. You gain the Major Block Chance effect, which increases your block chance by 40% for 6 seconds. Block means you don't, if you block a attack, you get reduced damage. Stone Cold is a passive ability that works specifically on Stone Walled and reduces the recharge time. Normally it's 45 seconds recharge time, but you can reduce that with Stone Cold. Backhanded is an active ability, and it's a builder, only if you have no resources. So if you use all your resource points and then use Backhanded, you'll get 2 hammer resources. And it's a single target attack that deals 101 physical damage with the weapon I've got. Cool, Calm and Collected is an elite passive ability, and it says whenever you block an attack, so again you've got Stone Cold, that means you'll block more, not Stone Cold, You've got stone walled, that means you will block more attacks. And this says when you block an attack, your attacker generates additional hate towards you, and you gain the minor ward effect, which reduces all damage received by 7.5% for 8 seconds. The numbers will change, remember, but it basically means you get less damage when you block an attack, and you get more hate. And hammers are tanky anyway, so you want to generate that hate. So now fists. Let me put on a fist weapon to show you an example. I don't think you'll be able to see them on because I don't have any fist weapons. I don't have any fist skills, I mean. But you get the point, they're claws that come off the end of your hand. Okay, you've got Feral, which is your Spare Me Builder skill. Does 89 physical damage. Sharp Claws means your claw skill will also cause the target to be afflicted with a damage over time effect. Hog Wild is an active ability that consumes all your fist resources and affects all enemies in a cone in front of you, 5 enemies in a 5-meter long 60-degree cone in front of you, and it does 110 physical damage. Gives you the Savage Sweep effect, which causes the next fist resource consumer you activate to deal 32 physical damage in an area around you. And a lot of the fist skills are like that. They will give you a effect that means the next skill you use will have an additional effect. So the order you use your fist weapon skills is important. Okay. Killer Instinct means every time you attack you build a Killer Instinct counter. When there are 4 counters, next attack cannot be evaded and will reset the count. Each attack means 1 use of an ability. So it'll count up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next attack, your 5th one, cannot be evaded. Prey on the Weak is an active ability, and it's a builder. You get 1 resource for each weapon equipped. And you'll hit 3 times, dealing 28 physical damage per hit for this weapon that I've got, the newbie weapon. If the target is impaired, you will build additional fist resource points. Now it's important to note this says that it hits 3 times, but it only counts as 1 attack. Like for example with Killer Instinct. Prey on the Weak counts as 1 attack and you'll build 1 extra counter, not 3. Predator is a passive ability that gives you increased damage for all your fist weapons by 10%. And then you've got Go for the Throat, which is an elite active ability. It deals 127 physical damage with my weapon. The target also becomes impaired and unable to activate abilities for 3 seconds. Okay, then you've got Primal. Lick Your Wounds is another good passive ability to remember. You can take it and slot it in even if you're not using fist weapons. It gives you a small heal over time every time you attack, which again would be a lot because that's every time you use an ability you'll get a little heal over time effect. Nurture is an active ability. It builds 1 fist resource point and it will heal your defensive target for 36. Someone's attacking near me. So it's a heal basically. You'll get a heal and then a heal over time as well. Nurturing Gift increases the duration of Nurture by 5 seconds. So you can make the heal over time effect on Nurture go longer. Pack Leader is a buff. All your team members will gain a beneficial effect that reduces the chance of performing glancing hits by 80% for 10 seconds. So you'll generally all do more damage if you're not glancing. Alpha Wolf reduces the recharge time of Pack Leader by 30 seconds. Wild at Heart is an active ability that consumes all resource points. It's a single target attack that gives you the Feral Regrowth effect, which causes your next fist resource consumer to heal you for 86. Then you've got Out of the Woods, which is the elite passive ability. Whenever you heal a target above 80% of their maximum health, you gain a beneficial effect that increases all direct healing done by 7.5% for 8 seconds. So there's some pretty good healing skills in fist weapons. But, as I said, you don't necessarily need to heal if you're going fists. That's up to you. Anyway, that was the melee skills. There will be more videos. Keep watching CGN. And I hope you have fun in the game. See you next time. And so, within melee, you've got... hair in my mouth.